In this video, I'm going over 5 things I hate about the Jeep Gladiator. I have a 2020 Jeep Gladiator. I've been building it out over the last couple of years, and I've taken it on several trails in Colorado and Utah. Overall, I've been really happy with my Gladiator, but there are things that can be improved, and some things I just truly hate. Starting with number 5, I hate the halogen headlights. They're very dim, they don't light up the road very much, and it just makes it really hard to see at night. I live in an area with a lot of deer, and you really want to see as far out and as clearly as possible when you're going through my neighborhood, and you just really feel like you're straining to see at night in the Gladiator. Now, you can get the LED option when you purchase your Gladiator, but in my opinion, being able to see at night should not be an optional feature. They don't have to put LEDs in every trim model, but they have to do better with the halogen light package. I've driven several cars for several years and never had LED lights, but was still able to see at night. Number 4, I hate that a trailer brake wasn't an option. I purchased the Max Tow because I have interest in towing in the future. Now, I know that the Gladiator is a mid-sized truck, so towing is limited, but it's still something that I want to do. I got the Max Tow package because I want to maximize my towing ability, and to me it seems obvious that a trailer brake should be part of that package. I was surprised when it wasn't. The thought of going down I-70 down into Silverthorne from the tunnel without having a trailer brake is terrifying, so it's a must that I have to add once I am ready to start towing. The next thing I want to share with you is a regret. Now, this has nothing to do with Jeep, anything they did. This is 100% me, and something I regretted almost immediately. When I was getting my Gladiator, I wanted a base model because I knew I was going to customize it out. So I wanted the Max Tow package, I wanted the auxiliary switches, and maybe 1 or 2 colors, and that's all I really cared about. If it had the power doors, the windows, or anything like that was only a secondary thing to me. So I was able to find this Gladiator. It had all the requirements, but it's a sport, so it didn't have the power doors or windows or anything like that. And I was like, I drove for years in high school and in college in cars that had 0 extra features, and I did perfectly fine. And this Gladiator isn't my daily driver, so I don't need anything like that. I quickly learned that college was a long time ago, and I've become very, very used to certain level of convenience. And not having power doors and windows is really inconvenient. So if you're looking and getting a vehicle and you want to go base model to do your build, get the power stuff. I wish I would have done that. Number 3, I hate the UConnect system. Now, the UConnect system is your interface to operate your music, your calls, and various other functions in the Gladiator. But mine has been incredibly glitchy. Now, I have the Sport, which doesn't give you half of the information that you get from the Rubicon, and to me, that seems like it should do an even better job because you're requiring a lot less from it. But it has just been so frustrating. I'll hit the steering wheel controls to change a song, for example. Hit it, nothing happens. Hit it, nothing happens. Get super frustrated. Hit it, hit it, hit it. Then 20 to 30 seconds later, it jumps ahead 5 or 6 songs. Also, I'll plug in my phone. It may or may not read that the phone is connected to it. So I'm unplugging, plugging back in, unplugging, plugging back in until it recognizes that my phone is connected to the system. The touchscreen isn't that much better either. I'll touch the screen to pause the music. It may or may not pause it. I'll touch the screen to change the track. It may or may not change it. I'll touch the screen to answer a telephone call. It may or may not answer the call. Well, you get the point. Now, these next glitches aren't directly related to the UConnect system. I've had a stop-start error that would randomly pop up. I've had it where randomly the heat would come on full blast and there was no way to turn it down or off using any of the knobs. The only way I could get it to turn off was to completely turn off the vehicle and restart it. But I was eventually able to get rid of those glitches by fully disconnecting the main and auxiliary battery and let it sit for about 10-15 minutes, plugged it back in, and it hasn't done it since. Cars nowadays are basically just rolling computers, and with any electronics, unplug it, plug it back in. That fixed like 90% of the problems. Now that we're talking about the UConnect system, it brings me to another regret. And this ties back to my decision to get the base trim model, is the screen that it comes with. This screen is incredibly small, and I am definitely going to upgrade and get a nice big screen. When you're trying to back up, everything looks really small because it's a wide angle lens. So everything looks further back and smaller than it really is. So even though it is a screen, it helps to back up. It just, I want one that's bigger. So if you're deciding between screen sizes and you don't want to get an aftermarket unit, get the bigger screen. This one's small. If this information has been helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss my next video. Number 2. I hate the handling of the Jeep Gladiator. Well, more accurately, I have a love-hate relationship with the handling of the Jeep Gladiator. The solid front axle is amazing off-road, solid, been able to take me to a lot of places, but boy, on-road it is a totally different experience. I've always driven IFS vehicles, and they handle really, really well on road. With IFS vehicles, I can say that I'm 99.5% sure how it's going to react when I'm going at high speeds or under heavy braking. I can't say the same thing for my Gladiator. I have to say I'm 85% sure how it's going to handle in high speeds and under heavy braking, which isn't the most reliable feeling if something were to happen. Now, I know I do have a lift and mud terrain tires, and that affects the handling, but it wasn't all that great when it was stock. If you get a solid front axle Jeep, prepare to do this occasionally. I have a bonus issue to share, and it doesn't rise to the level of hate, it's more of annoying. And it's a start-stop system. Now, I don't have a problem with the concept of the start-stop system, but it does really annoy me. And specifically why it annoys me is that I'll pull into my garage, for example. Pull into the garage, the vehicle comes to a complete stop, the engine shuts off. I put the vehicle into park, the engine cuts back on for a second before turning off. It's really annoying how it just does that immediately, kicks back on for a second. And I'm seriously thinking about turning it off. Number 1, I hate the lack of horsepower. Now, some may say, well, it's comparable with other mid-sized pickups. I don't care. I want more horsepower. It feels risky to pass on a 2-lane road. Like I said, I want to tow with it, and based on what I've seen, when I am ready to tow, I'm looking forward to 5 miles per gallon in gas and a very slow trip. I am going to re-gear with the towing in mind, so hopefully that will help a little bit. But the engine in here is the same as the JL, and I understand from a business perspective why they would do that. They know about it, it's solid. But in the Gladiator, you're asking more from it than you are with a JL. It's heavier, you're towing, and I just wish it had more power. Now, like I said, I know this isn't a full-size truck, it's a mid-size, but I don't want or need full-size power. I need a little bit more than what this is giving right now. But I wouldn't complain if they did a 392 Gladiator. I don't know if that's in the works, and if it did come, boy, I would really, really want one. But I have no idea if that's happening or not. These are the 5 things I hate about the Jeep Gladiator, but the positives have far outweighed the negatives, and it's really met my needs. I've been building it out over the last couple of years, and I plan to continue doing so into the future and taking it out there and having adventures. If you want to see my build, click the end screen now.